guys, I'm Takira. Welcome back to my channel. As you guys saw in the title, this is going to be part 2 of my top fragrances for fall, and this is going to be the fragrances that I feel are more nighttime appropriate. With that being said, that does not mean that these are fragrances that I will wear exclusively at nighttime per se. I will let you know the ones that I do like to wear exclusively for the nighttime, but these are the fragrances that I feel are the most nighttime appropriate in my whole top fall fragrances list. So a lot of these fragrances are what I'd consider transitional fragrances, meaning that they could be worn in the daytime and, you know, transition into nighttime wear as well and still be appropriate for that. I know one of you guys asked me about transitional fall fragrances, so most of these will be the ones that I consider to be transitional fall fragrances. So yeah, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump into my list, and as usual, they won't be in any particular order besides my scent of the day, which I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys now. So my scent of the day today is La Nuit Trésor by Lancôme. And y'all know this is my baby. So this is one of the fragrances that I would personally wear exclusively at nighttime. Maria just talked about this one in her video as well. And as she said in her video, it is one of those fragrances I feel like I have to kind of look the part to wear, if that makes sense. This isn't a fragrance I feel like I could just throw on and wear casually. I feel like I have to be dressed nicely or be dolled up, you know, and I feel like it needs to be nighttime when I wear this because it does project and it's pretty strong, and just the scent in general, I feel like it's a sexy, almost like enticing scent, so I feel like it's more appropriate for nighttime wear. As far as the scent is concerned, what I get most from this is that strawberry note, that caramel note, and that incense note that's in it. So it's like a sweet, smoky, gourmand fragrance. And I feel like this fragrance is like a sexy, sophisticated gourmand fragrance. I know it's associated with club wear a lot. I don't know, I don't really see that with this fragrance. I personally see a woman who is just naturally sexy wearing this fragrance. Somebody who is confident, and when she walks into a room, all eyes are on her. That's what I see with this fragrance. I love it. You guys know I love it. I've talked about it previously plenty of times in the past. This is one of my faves, and yeah, again, that is La Nuit Trésor by Lancôme. So these next 2 fragrances I wanted to discuss together because I find them pretty similar and they're becoming more difficult to find from what I've noticed. So I wanted to give you 2 options in case you're able to find one instead of the other. But the fragrances I'm talking about are by Armani, and they are the Armani code fragrances. I have Satin and Cashmere, and that's what the bottles look like. So I'm gonna start with Satin, and I will say that I do slightly prefer Satin to Cashmere, but I do love them both. So at first spray, this fragrance smells pretty masculine to me, and if you smelled the original Armani code, you know it kind of has like a masculine edge to it. It didn't bother me at all though. I actually kind of like that masculine edge that it has. And it smells a bit medicinal to me as well in the opening. I don't know what note that is. It may be the jasmine, because y'all will see why in a bit. But along with those 2 aspects in the opening, I felt like I smelled some type of orange, like an orange sherbet scent maybe, even though the notes on Fragrantica didn't have like an orange note listed. But I did notice on the Armani site there's an orange essence, I think, or something like that in the opening, so it made sense after I saw that. And also Armani Code, the original, has a very prominent like orange scent to it. So yeah, that's what I get in the opening. But once this dries down on my skin, it reminds me of Alien Essence Absolute. I don't know if you guys get that as well from this fragrance, but that fragrance, but without that menthol scent that it has, because you know that menthol scent in that fragrance kind of bothers me. But the vanilla in this becomes very prominent in the dry down into my nose. It's more of like it kind of reminds me of like marshmallow fluff. If you've eaten that before, it kind of has like this like sweet vanilla flavor to me. But this fragrance, it reminds me of both the texture and the flavor of marshmallow fluff. That creamy but fluffy texture that marshmallow fluff has, I feel like That's the type of sweetness that this fragrance has. It's still creamy, but it's like light and fluffy as well, to where it's not like overly sweet. And I feel like that may have something to do with the orange blossom note that's in this, because I do get that as well. And it kind of just adds like a freshness to this fragrance. And I think what's making it smell similar to Alien Essence Absolute is of course that prominent vanilla note, but I think the jasmine note that's used in the Armani Code fragrances kind of smells similar to that Alien jasmine, but less mentholated, if that makes sense. So yeah, my only gripe with this fragrance is the projection, but I will say as of recently, it's been performing a little bit better. The weather has cooled down a bit here, and I have noticed that with the cooler weather, it does project a bit more. But at first, I feel like it was sitting pretty close to the skin and it didn't project a whole lot without me having to like really overspray it, which is why my bottle here is almost empty. I do have a backup though, so I'm good. That's the only problem I have with this fragrance, but otherwise I do love it, and it's probably meant to sit fairly close to the skin. The name is Satin, so it's probably meant to be like one of those cozy, comforting fragrances. But yeah, I really enjoy this fragrance and I would recommend. So for Armani Code Cashmere, I do find them pretty similar. All the Armani Code fragrances that I've tried, which is just these two and the original, they all have that original Armani Code DNA. So yes, they are similar. These are true flankers, but they are still different fragrances to my nose. The Armani Code Satin, I feel, focuses more on the vanilla notes, and Cashmere does not have a vanilla note in it, but it does have a heliotrope note in it, which to my nose has a like almond and vanilla scent. When I wore this fragrance for the first time, I felt like it reminded me of Alien Fusion as opposed to Alien Essence Absolute with Satin. I feel like it reminded me of that fragrance because it has this spicy element to it. I'm thinking that may come from the incense note that's in this, but it also has that alien jasmine. I know Fusion doesn't have a jasmine note, but it does still have the alien DNA, oddly enough. And it also reminded me of Rouge Malachite, which I find Alien Fusion to be very similar to, or vice versa. I don't know which one came out first, but they're not like exactly the same. Like it has like that aspect to it. This one I feel is warmer than those fragrances because of that heliotrope note, and it also has an almond milk note in this as well that I feel adds a bit of creaminess to it. This fragrance has that doughy aspect that I mentioned that I can sometimes get from La Vie Belle Intensement in my previous video. And that fragrance also has a heliotrope note in it. So I'm starting to think that heliotrope is what kind of gives me that doughy vibe from fragrances. So like I mentioned earlier, heliotrope to me kind of smells like it has like an almond and vanilla scent, but it usually comes off a bit powdery as well, and now I'm finding that it comes off doughy on my skin in fragrances. Imagine you have an almond and vanilla cookie dough, for instance, and I don't know if you guys have ever like made cookies at home, but when I'm rolling the dough in my hands, I put flour on my hands first before I roll it so that it's not getting all stuck to my fingers. So that's kind of what the heliotrope in this fragrance reminds me of, like an almond and vanilla cookie dough with like a powdery flour dusting. So yeah, I really enjoy this fragrance as well. And like I was saying, the reason why I talked about them together is if you are interested in either of them, I feel like if you pick up either or, you get a similar vibe. So whichever you can find, I'll try to find reputable links and put them in my description box. I know I've seen them on eBay, and I think I've seen Satin on a Canadian discounter. So I'll try to link everything below for you guys that are interested. But love these two, and again, that is Armani Code Satin and Cashmere. So this next fragrance y'all have seen on my channel before. This is Valentino Donna Born in Roma. And this is a fragrance I would wear day or night in the fall. I forgot to mention that with the Armani Code fragrances, but I would wear either of them day or night as well. But this fragrance is fruity and tart from that black currant note, but it also has like a prominent sweet creaminess from that vanilla note that's in it. And I also get a prominent woodiness from this fragrance. It's like a smoky woodiness that I get. I really enjoy this fragrance. It has good performance, both now in the cooler weather, and it also performed pretty well in the heat for me. It is pretty sweet though, so I do feel like this one is more like cooler weather appropriate, but yeah, I love it. And again, that is Valentino Donna, Born in Roma. So next fragrance I have here is YSL Libre Intense, which you guys have not yet seen on my channel. So if you guys have smelled the original Libre, this one does still have that same DNA, but it's a bit sweeter, and the vanilla note is more prominent in this fragrance, and the lavender note is more muted to my nose. So what I've noticed is that people who loved the original Libre seem to either not like this one or are underwhelmed by it, and the people who didn't like the original Libre tend to like this one. Personally, I'm someone who loves the original. I didn't have my full bottle for my fall fragrance video yet. I tried it like last year, but I was looking for a good deal on it, and I just recently picked up a bottle after I picked up this one because I felt like I still needed it. But I love the original Libre. I actually prefer it to this fragrance, but I love this one as well. I'm one of the few people I think who actually loves both fragrances. But I purchased this one first because y'all know I love my sweet fragrances, so I was thinking that I would probably enjoy this one a bit more than the original. But when I got it, I was like, no, I still need my bottle of the original. And the reason I think I prefer the original more is because it has a more prominent lavender notes, it's more fresh, and I don't know, it just has an extra oomph. When I first tried this fragrance, I felt like it reminded me of a bunch of different fragrances, you know? It wasn't one in particular that I feel like I should note now, but it was just, it's not as unique as the original in my opinion, which there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like this one is the more people-pleasing version, which I have no issue with. Like I said, I do love this. I would wear this one day or night, year-round, same with the original. But like I said, it's sweet vanilla with a backing of lavender, and then there's a slight spice to this fragrance. It almost has like a burnt sweetness to it as well, to my nose. But I feel like this one is softer and it doesn't project as much as the original. I feel like it's more of a cozy, intimate scent. Like I can smell it while I'm wearing it, but it's not one that has a heavy projection. So yeah, I enjoy this fragrance, and I feel like it is very much so fall appropriate. So again, that is YSL Libre Intense. So the next fragrance I have here is the OG Alien. Here's what the bottle looks like. And you guys know I talked about Alien Fusion in my daytime fall fragrances list. So that's why I saved this one for my nighttime list, but I would wear this day or night as well. So to me, Alien does start off with that like mentholated jasmine notes, which I don't really enjoy the menthol aspect of it. But this fragrance on my skin, as soon as it dries on my skin, that mentholated scent kind of settles down a bit, so it doesn't bother me in this fragrance. So yeah, on my skin, I like to call this a like candied jasmine scent. The amber in this comes off pretty sweet to my nose, and it gives like this like crystallized sweetness to this fragrance, but that jasmine note is still there and noticeable. So together, those two notes give me like a candied jasmine vibe, and I feel like it's just a very like pretty, fresh, but then still sweet, like sophisticated fragrance, and I love it. Again, that is Alien by Mugler. So the next fragrance I have here is Flower Bomb Nectar by Viktor and Rolf, and this is another fragrance that I would wear day or night personally. This fragrance kind of smells a bit medicinal to me at first as well. It kind of reminds me of like like a cough syrup, like a sweet cough syrup at first, and I know it sounds bad, but I mean it like in the best way possible. What I find is that patchouli, when it's mixed with sweet fruity fragrances, it can kind of come off like cough syrup to me, and most of the time I don't enjoy it. But with this fragrance, it doesn't bother me at all, and I really enjoy this fragrance. I think something that is pretty, I think it's pretty funny, so I wanted to note it. When I sprayed this on my nephew, he's like, oh, I really like that scent. It smells like chapstick or something. And when he said chapstick, I immediately thought of Carmex. And I'm like, you mean Carmex? And he was like, yeah, Carmex, I like that scent. Because you know how Carmex has that that medicated scent to it. So it does, in the opening, to me, kind of remind me a bit of like a sweet Carmex type of scent. Y'all are probably like, that sounds disgusting, but literally, like I said, in the best way possible. I wouldn't have it in this list if I didn't like it. But as it dries down, that medicated or cough syrupy scent kind of settles a bit, and it's just like a very sweet and enjoyable fragrance. So again, that is Viktor and Rolf Flower Bomb Nectar. So the next fragrance I have here is The Only One Intense by Dolce & Gabbana, which y'all have seen on my channel and you know I love. So to me, this fragrance is a sweet, creamy, floral fragrance. And the most prominent notes to my nose are the coconut, the vanilla, the orange blossom, and the neroli, in that order too. So the dark vanilla note in combination with the coconut note kind of reminds me of like a toasted coconut scent, and the neroli adds a like citrusy floral aspect to the fragrance, and the orange blossom kind of just adds a freshness to the fragrance that prevents it from being overly sweet. I think I mentioned in my previous video, this fragrance reminds me of both Alien Fusion as well as Dolce & Gabbana Garden. The coconut and neroli combo in this fragrance smells very similar to me to the coconut neroli combo that they use in Dolce Garden. It reminds me of Fusion, I think, because of that orange blossom note, and it also has like a slight spice to it that I pick up in Fusion as well. And it also has like, kind of smells like it has like that alien jasmine in it that Fusion does not have. I feel like it does have a jasmine note, because it's still, I don't know how I was able to maintain the alien DNA without that jasmine note, you know? Even though Fusion doesn't have that mentholated scent that you can sometimes get from the alien jasmine, but that's besides the point. Anyway, again, that is Dolce & Gabbana, The Only One Intense. So the next fragrance I have here is Viktor and Rolf Bonbon. And as y'all can see, mine has this little bow on it. Online, I thought it looked, I don't know. I didn't like it online. But when I got it in person, I thought it was kind of cute, so I left it on. But it's a limited edition bottle, and I can take it off if I want to. But like I said, I thought it was kind of cute, so I left it. So if you've tried In Control Curious by Britney Spears, I will say that fragrance, or this fragrance, smells very similar to that fragrance, because I think that one came out first. But it's by Viktor and Rolf. It does smell more refined and like more quality ingredients were used in it. And I'm not just saying that because of the price. I don't care about that. There was a note in Control Curious that on my skin kind of pulled, I don't know, it kind of smelled off, and it kind of bothered me a bit when I was wearing it. I don't get that from this fragrance, so that's why I prefer this one to that fragrance. This fragrance, to my nose, the most prominent notes in it are that caramel note and that peach note, but I also smell the orange blossom note that's in this, as well as that guaiac wood note. So the caramel note in this fragrance, it smells more creamy and milky as opposed to like a sticky and gooey caramel, but I really enjoy it in this fragrance. And the peach is just like a ripe, sweet, juicy peach. I feel like those two notes kind of share the spotlight in this fragrance. And then the orange blossom note is there. It kind of just adds like a freshness to the fragrance that prevents it from being too sweet or overwhelming. And the guaiac wood note in this adds like a smoky, woody aspect to it. It almost makes it smell like it has like a toasted scent. But yeah, I love this. It's another one I would wear day or night. And yeah, again, that is Bonbon by Viktor and Rolf. So the next fragrance I have here is Roberto Cavalli Gemma di Paradiso, which y'all have seen on my channel and know that I love. Peep the dent. And this is a fragrance that I would wear day or night as well, and I personally feel like this is appropriate for all seasons, all year round. So as I mentioned previously, the most prominent notes I smell in this fragrance are pear, vanilla and it has like a woody aspect to it as well. There's a floral aspect, and I really can't pinpoint the florals in this fragrance, but it kind of just adds like a freshness, a slightly powdery freshness to the fragrance, as I previously mentioned, and the vanilla kind of adds like a creamy aspect to it. When I smell this fragrance, I don't immediately think I smell vanilla per se, but like I said, I just feel like it kind of adds a creaminess to the fragrance. The pear is upfront and noticeable. It's to my nose, it smells like a green pear. I feel like the sweetness that's in this is coming from that vanilla note. The pear in this, I feel like, is a green, crisp, on the verge of being ripe pear. And the woodiness almost gives it like almost like a burnt scent, but in the best way possible, like a slightly burnt aspect along with the other notes in the fragrance. I love this. I recommend. I think it's sexy. I think I mentioned previously that I find it to be one of those fragrances that is effortlessly sexy. And yeah, again, that is Roberto Cavalli, Gemma di Paradiso. So last fragrance I have here is my Burberry Black. So the bottle looks like, and this is another one I would wear day or night. So this fragrance doesn't have many notes, but I feel like I can smell all the notes in this fragrance. I definitely smell that peach note, but in this fragrance, it doesn't smell like it's a ripe peach to my nose. It smells like it's not quite ripe. It's more of a sour, tart peach, and it is sweet, but I feel like the sweetness in this is coming from the amber note that's in it. It kind of adds like a candy sweetness, kind of like with Alien. And then I also smell the rose and the patchouli in this fragrance, but I feel like together it kind of just smells like wilted rose, because patchouli can sometimes come off as dirty. I don't smell like a wet soil scent, but I think the combination of the patchouli with the rose is kind of giving me an almost wilted rose scent. So yeah, this is one that I really enjoy. It has great performance. I don't feel like, okay, this is just for me personally. I am an avid oversprayer and I feel like that kind of contributes to maybe why fragrances last so long on me and why they're able to project pretty well on me, because I do spray a lot on, but it also, I feel like it may desensitize my nose to strong fragrances. I heard that this was like a beast and you only need like 2 sprays. I personally don't feel that way about this fragrance, and I think it's because of the reason I just gave you guys. Yeah, a lot of things aren't like super strong to me, but I do think this has great performance. I don't have to spray it on as heavily as I would some of my fragrances that don't have like the greatest projection. So yeah, again, that is my Burberry Black by Burberry. Okay guys, that was it. Don't forget to drop your scent of the day down in the comments. I think I forgot to tell you guys to do that in the beginning, but this will be a test to see who actually made it to the end of the video. So if you made it here, then let me know your scent of the day down in the comments. And also, if you want to share, let me know your favorite daytime or nighttime fall fragrances, or the fragrances that you're just looking forward to wearing this fall in general. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.